Having played in the American Football League, was there one particular moment in which you felt that the league was really gaining momentum and sort of changing the opinion that the NFL had of it?
Yeah, that happened about after we had established ourselves a little better after about the middle of the that 10-year period, maybe years 4 and 5, when we were really starting to play well and we were organized better, and there was, we were being paid better, and we didn't have to wait at the bank to have our checks cashed. And we were more solid as a league, and we started feeling pretty good about ourselves. Yeah, no question about it. Yeah.
Thank you and congrats.
Fago and then Josh Dubois next.
Hey, how you doing, Coach?
Good, I'm doing great.
What words of wisdom could you give anybody that feels doubtful about taking that leap of faith and going after their dreams?
Well, there's not much you can. I don't think you can. They've got to believe it. They've got to be strong. They got to believe it in what they really want, and I think it's within reach, and then go for it. I mean, I don't know if there's any words that you can put into it other than give it your best shot. You only have, we only live once, and I was fortunate. I had 3 shots at it, and on the 3rd shot, I said, well, this new league is starting up, and maybe I'll give it one more chance. I don't owe anybody any money. I could work the rest of my life, and that was 61 years ago, and I'm still at it.
Thank you, Coach.
You bet.
Josh and then Mark Holmes.
And Tom, congratulations. Just what was it like for you as coaching for Al Davis? What was that? What was that like? What were the challenges of that? What were the good parts about that? Just obviously a complicated person to coach.
Well, it was memorable. It was arduous. It was an incredible journey with Al. I started out with him when he first came into the American Football League as a general manager and coach with the Raiders. He had been with the Chargers for a couple of years, and that's when I first met him. And I was with him and watched him grow from assistant coach to a head coach to a league commissioner, back as an owner, and to an incredible career. But he was tough. He was demanding. He was fearless, and but you had to know him, and I got to know him pretty well. And once you knew him, you knew his good things and his bad things, and he had so many good things to offer.
Thanks, Coach. Mark Holmes and then Ed Granny.
Congratulations, Coach. Mark Holmes from Joe Blue Sports Report. Congratulations on being in the Hall of Fame and now being distinctive of a person that being one of 2 people that have been a player, assistant coach, a head coach, and now a Hall of Famer, you and Mike Ditka being those 2, as well as being the first Mexican-American player in the NFL. Did that put any added pressure on you personally? And one other final thing, after taking over for John Madden, who was a very in-your-face coach, your demeanor seemed much more quieter and calmer. Was that really the case, or was that just for the public eye?
Well, first of all, to answer your second question, that's what I am. I am what I am. I was that way as a player. As a person, I was, quiet and under control. John was that way as a person himself. So he took on the field what he was. I took on the field what I was. And I remember talking to Al Davis. I said, I'm not John. As far as the emotional part is, he said, I know that. He said, but I hired you to win. And I worked for John for 7 years as his assistant. So I know all the good parts about John, and it was helpful to me as a head coach. And so that was my feeling there. As far as the first part of your question was the first of what was that first part of the question?
Oh, the first Mexican American quarterback in the NFL.
Oh yeah. Well, it wasn't as big a thing when I first started. I never thought about it. I never felt I was hired because of my ethnic background. I was hired because of what I could do on the field as a player and as a coach. And I still feel that way. I mean, first of all, if you're, it doesn't matter what color you are, you got to be ready to perform, and you got to be able to win. Otherwise, you're going to be unemployed, whatever color you are. Fortunately, I was lucky enough to and worthy enough and good enough, I guess, to win enough and establish myself. And now here I am. There you go.
Thank you very much, and look forward to
You bet.
seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
All right, Ed, and after Ed will be Levi Edwards.
Hey, Coach, it's Ed Graney from the Review-Journal in Las Vegas. We talked to Charles Woodson yesterday about kind of his definition of a Raider. He always points to the alumni and the veterans that helped him out. Beyond kind of the commitment to excellence and everything we've always heard, what was your definition as a Raider, and what do you think they stood for when you were there?
Well, I thought we were, the Raider, first of all, we were a pretty tight family. And I say family because that's what we were like. The old core, the Raider Nation is a family, a very powerful family, because we believe in each other, and we like to be the underdogs. We like the honoriness look that we have. It looks like Halloween every Sunday afternoon when we play in Oakland. We like that. That was our. It kind of little by little became our way of life, and little by little, wherever we went in this country, there they were. The Raider Nation was there, so we were very proud of that. In fact, I remember driving on a bus once, pulling up to a stadium, and here they are, the Raider Nation. I looked around the bus at some of these guys, and some of the young ones especially, and the look in their eye was worth it, because they just said, "Wow, here we are," and all the way to the other side of the country, and look at this. And they were pretty enamored by that, and I thought it was great. It was a great thing to have.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Levi Edwards, and then John Shearer, you're next.
Tom, Levi Edwards with Raiders.com. Of course, over your 2 Super Bowl wins as a head coach, looking back over your Hall of Fame career, would you say that the first one in 80 was more difficult, or would you say that the one in 84, with everything that was going on with the move to Los Angeles, which one do you kind of look at and say this was a lot harder to achieve, or do you put them on the same playing level?
Well, no, they were different. The 81 was tough, because we were kind of in a rebuilding mode. We had traded away Kenny Stabler. We had a lot of veteran players, not a lot of young players. We traded for Kenny King. He was one of our young running backs. But Upshaw and Shell had one more good year to give us, and we picked up guys like Bobby Chandler, Burgess Owens, and Cedric Hardman, and they were veterans that had a year or two left in their tank, and they gave it to us. We struggled, and we struggled all the way through, and then towards the end of the year, I started feeling pretty good about ourselves, because we said, "Hey, we're playing well." We had some ups and downs, but so did everybody else. And we resurrected Jim Plunkett. He came through like a champ for us, made big plays in big games. I thought that was a lot tougher than 83 season in Los Angeles. The only thing about that was that I lived in a hotel for 14 months. And that was tough. That was tough on me and my family. My family was up north, and I was in Los Angeles, and it was not a good atmosphere, but we persevered, and we had a good team, though, that we were pretty loaded as far as good players.
Thanks, Coach. John Shearer, and then Ray Lee.
Hello, Mr. Flores. It's an absolute honor, first of all, to get to talk to you. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
So do you think the current state of the Raiders, do you think they have an opportunity to go to a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl? And have you talked to Coach Gruden and kind of given him any advice on coaching, seeing as he's struggled a little bit since he's gotten back into the NFL? Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I think, yeah, I certainly feel that they have a chance to get to the end, to get to the Super Bowl, but they got to prove it. They've worked hard. They're working hard. They've got some good talent. They've got to. My feeling is they've got to stay unified. And there's been so many changes: offensive coordinator changes, head coaching changes, player changes. You can't, you do too many changes, it's not good for your team, not good for your continuity. And, John certainly knows how to win. He won before and been there before, been in that atmosphere. So that's not nothing new. It's just a matter of getting it done. And yeah, I think they can do it. What better place than Las Vegas for the Raiders? Because they kind of fit the mode of the city. The city knows that they can support a championship team. They haven't done so with the hockey team. So I'm looking forward to it. And it's just, the old saying, every team in America right now, every NFL team in America is dreaming the same dream, and that's the Super Bowl. And why not?
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Ray Lee and then Phil Jones.
Hi, Mr. Flores.
All right.
Rayleigh here with KDWN 1015 FM 720 AM, the Talk of Las Vegas. First off, I wanted to congratulate you on being inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
Of course, it's such an honor to get to speak with you today, as I have great respect for you. My question for you is, in taking a walk down memory lane, I can only imagine the memories and hardships that you overcame as a pro footballer, assistant coach, and head coach. If you got the chance to revisit any of those memories, what would they be and why?
Well, God, there's so many memories. I remember our very first day ever in the history of the Raiders in Santa Cruz, California. There were 11 quarterbacks in training camp. 11. We couldn't even all get in one picture. And now, 61 years later, you look back and say, wow, look what we've done in that time. Look how many ups and how many fun times we've had, how many down times we've had, but we've always persevered. Look what this crazy game has grown to. Look at what the Raiders have grown to. And it's hard to imagine when I saw the new stadium in Vegas, your beautiful stadium. I must have said wow 100 times. Wow, wow. Every time I turn around, I said, oh, look at that. We had a little Quonset hut that we practiced in. We had a field that was sinking on one side that if a player ran it down and out, he ran out of sight because the field was so lopsided. So all the things that have happened for the good, and it's a great sport, and the people enjoy it, and got to keep doing it. Go Raiders.
Go Raiders. Thank you. Love it. And congrats again.
You bet.
Phil Jones, then Chris Daly.
Good afternoon, Coach. How you doing?
Hey, Phil. I'm doing good. You?
Hey, it's an honor to be sitting here speaking with you. Two questions. So, one, if you could probably take us back to that first Super Bowl that you won, what went through your mind? And with everything that's been circling around the Raiders' current quarterback, Derek Carr, with the whole, is he good enough? Why is it trade talks, this and that? What would you say to him to make sure he stays focused this year and he can help lead that Vegas Raider team to a playoff?
Well, the first thing to Derek is Derek's a very positive thinking guy. I mean, he's team oriented. He's worked. He's been under. I really feel that he has had so many ups and downs in his short career because of all the different changes and coordinators and head coaches. This is the first time in his career that he's had the same type of system any length of time. I think that will help, especially if the offensive line gets back to its prominence that they need to be. You can't do it alone as a quarterback. You need that offensive line. And he certainly is a competitive enough. And I think if you can get him to the fourth quarter, he knows how he can win in the fourth quarter. It's in between there that sometimes he's had issues. So I don't think there's any question that he can win. Whether he can win the big one, I'll tell you, I don't know. I think that is you never know. I mean, we didn't know what we had when we brought Jim Plunkett back, and he had already been around the league for over 10 years. So, and he was able to deliver two Super Bowls for us. So a lot of times, Kurt Warner, you look at his career and where he came from and working in a grocery store or something, and all of a sudden there he is. It's just, I don't think there's any question. I think that Derek Carr has a physical ability. I can't tell you about the rest of it because I'm not around him every day. As far as my feelings on the field, I tell you, there's a lot of memories that go through your mind when you're on the field and the game is almost over and you realize you're a world champion. And they go back all the way back to your childhood, all the way back to high school. Some of the craziest things in the world go through your mind. But you all of a sudden, you feel this warm glow and you realize we're world champs. We did it. And it wasn't I did it. We did it. We did it. So it's a great feeling. And I hope we have it again.
Well, congratulations, Coach.
Thank you. You bet.
Chris Daly, then Alex Fleming.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And to stay on topic with that 1980 season when you led the Raiders to a Super Bowl win over the Philadelphia Eagles, being the first wild card team to ever win a Super Bowl, just what set that team apart from all your other teams? Because you touched base about how it was a really old team, a lot of guys that you were unsure about. So what set that team apart?
Well, we had a lot of grit, that team. There was a lot of scars and scabs on everybody's bodies and minds because we had all bounced around a little bit, and we've been at the bottom of the pile and resurrected ourselves. And it was my second year as a head coach, and we were struggling. We were struggling very hard. But I knew we had to do something. Mr. Al Davis knew that he was not very happy, and you had to know him when he wasn't very happy. That wasn't a good feeling. So, but I said, we can't. We're not doing anything wrong. The worst thing you can do when things are going badly is change everything, because you're not geared to change everything. You got to do what you believe in, what your players believe in. And so we just have to do it better. And we had to practice better and concentrate and get rid of the rest of. So we kind of went into our own shell and just did what we had to do. And little by little, we won and we won here, won there, won there. And all of a sudden we're in the playoffs. And once you get in the playoffs, I always told players, once you're in the playoffs, anything can happen. Anything. And anything happened that year. And we were able to win as a wild card, as the extra game on the road, and did it with style and class and dignity.
Thanks, Coach. Alex Fleming, and then Rick Watson.
Coach Flores, first and foremost, congratulations on being inducted to the Hall of Fame. It is an absolute honor to get to speak with you. You laid the foundation for so many minority and future head coaches in the NFL. And for that, we're indebted to you. So thank you. I guess my question is, you were a player, an assistant coach, and a head coach. When did you know that you were a leader of men?
Well, I always felt that I always felt that I knew what I was doing, and I knew it, and I could always try to do it well. And I always had friends, and I always seemed to be leading the pack here, even little high school, junior high, college. It was just one of those things where the dust settles, there you are. They're following you, but but you have to be able to perform once you get in top. But I never dreamed that I was going to be where I was as far as the head coach of a world championship team. But once I got into the business, once I got into coaching, I said, if I'm going to do this, I've got to do it well. I've got to do the best I can. And I'm not going to be happy being an assistant coach. I've got to go for the gold. And it worked out. It worked out pretty good. Ended up winning a few games.
Congratulations.
Where are you driving to anyway? Where are you going?
I'm just heading from work. I wasn't going to miss this. You don't get to talk to a Hall of Famer like you all the time.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. Enjoy your day.
Thanks, Alex. Up next is Rick and then Raphael.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach. Rick Watson with Big Dog Sports Talk. Congratulations, first of all, on being inducted into the Hall of Fame. My question is, coming up in the AFL, all those years as a player, as an assistant, and then into the NFL, how much more special were those head-to-head wins that you had against the NFC, going back to the identity that the AFL had created for itself against the then NFL?
It was great. I tell you, I have been fighting that battle ever since I was in the AFL, and I'm an AFL guy. You realize there's only 20 of us that made it through the entire existence of the AFL. 20 guys that made it for 10 years, and I'm proud to be one of them. And I always felt, I said, hey, we need our due. Where's our little Hall of Fame? We should be acknowledged at the Hall of Fame. We were responsible, along with television, for the change in football because we were innovative. We were wild and crazy guys, and we became the Raiders, wild and crazy Raiders. But also, we opened up the game. The NFL was very solid and very stoic and tough as nails. So we got the toughness didn't go away, but the flamboyance came in, and which made it more entertaining, and then the passing and trickery and all that stuff. It became we brought it into vogue, and it's still going strong.
Thanks, Coach. Congrats again.
You bet. Thank you.
Raphael, you're up, and Jake will be next.
Hey, Coach, this is Raphael with the 3-point conversion. Man, it's a pleasure to be able to talk to you, and congrats on getting inducted in the Hall of Fame in August. So my question is, you talked about the contrast earlier between you and Coach Madden as far as personalities. With all of the different types of personalities and characters with the Raiders, when you took over as head coach, why do you think that worked as far as you being very calm versus the different personalities? And then did you change anything, or did you allow them to still be who they were?
I didn't change anything. We still were the Raiders. We still treated the players the same way. I had been there for 7 years under John. And so the players, actually, it was an advantage to me because they knew me. They knew my demeanor. They knew what kind of a coach I was, assistant coach, and subsequently the head coach. So that was not new. And we didn't take away any of the privileges they had. I wasn't a wild and crazy player, but I let them be what they wanted to be within reason, because within reason is about as far as you can let them go. So I didn't change. We still did a lot of the same things, the same little idiosyncrasies that the Raiders had all those years, the same character, builders. That was the Raiders. They never changed.
And a quick follow-up, who was the biggest character or had the biggest personality when you were there as far as the players?
Oh my, there was a lot of them. Ted Hendricks was one. He was such a dominating defensive player. He was always he would get bored and he'd always pull some kind of a trick during training camp or somewhere along the way. He was a character. We had a guy way back when, John Matuzak, was a little quirky at times. Everybody had their own way of doing things, and it was fun to see because we allowed it to a certain extreme. We allowed it to happen. Let them have fun. The game should be fun.
Thank you.
Thanks, Raphael. Thanks, Coach. Jake, you're up, and then Quentin.
Hey, Coach. First and foremost, congratulations on your Hall of Fame induction.
Well, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, you were a coach for a long time, whether it was an assistant coach, wide receivers coach, or head coach. You coached a lot of players in all your years. And I know it's hard to kind of pick one. You started to talk about just with the last question, who had the biggest personalities, but who was your favorite player to coach? And if you don't have one, you can give me a couple. If it's, I know it's hard to pick one. If you have a couple that come to mind, feel free to just give me those.
Well, I have a couple that come to mind. Jim Plunkett, obviously, because we had a lot of common, having the same ethnic background, battling to come back, and achieving what we did. He was always one of my favorites before we even got him. I mentioned Ted Hendricks, Cliff Branch. Was he was the first wide receiver that I coached when I came back into the Raiders as assistant coach. Marcus Allen, classy, great player. Mike Haynes. I could go on and on, but those are some of the guys that Matt Millen. They were just good players, good leaders, tough guys, and great role models.
Quentin, you're up, and VJ next.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? It's an honor to talk to you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, you were the first minority head coach to win a Super Bowl title. Do you think head coaching opportunities as well as front office opportunities have gotten better for minorities, or do you think it's still the same and can be improved upon?
Well, not everything can always be improved, I mean. And I think it has improved, but obviously not enough. You just have to continue to do what you do. And I think some of the programs that they've instilled in the National Football League are helping the minorities as far as elevate to different positions of leadership, other than just assistant coaches. There are a lot of assistant coaches that are minorities in the game right now, but where the issues are is the general managers and obviously ownership at some point, but the general managers and the leadership there, head coaches, patience, but it doesn't happen overnight. It just doesn't.
Also, I had a follow-up question. Now, everyone's been talking about the 1980 Super Bowl title. I have a question about one particular game. What were your memories from that 1980 AFC divisional game against the Browns?
Cold. It was cold. It was 39 below chill factor. Oh my God. I mean, I never been so cold in my life. I had so many clothes on. If I had fallen out, I couldn't have gotten back up. But our guys coming from California, we weathered the storm right there at the edge of Lake Erie, and it was, even though it was cold, 39 below, as I said, it didn't affect our guys. They played well. We did we kicked off instead of received at halftime because I didn't want to be going one direction because of the icy field. And all those things worked out for us, and we were halfway back to California that night after the game by the time that I thawed out. But it was cold.
All right. Thank you, Coach, and congratulations again.
You bet.
Yeah, 3 words live in Cleveland sports lore after that game: red, right, 88, and we don't like to repeat that. We got three questions left, Coach. We'll go to VJ and then Aaron.
Thank you very much. First of all, Ms. Flores, congratulations on your Pro Football Hall of Fame induction, sir.
Thank you.
I live in Los Angeles. My wife and all my in-laws are diehard Raider fans. You are truly a hero to a lot of my older in-laws. They talk about you all the time. I just want to just dig into your brain a little bit more about the AFL, because I always found it so intriguing that the AFL and the NFL merger, and Al Davis and how he has such a big part of that. Could you just speak to just the pride of the AFL? And if it hadn't have been a money thing, do you think the AFL could eventually have competed against the NFL and those teams at the time and beat some of those teams and maybe beat them in some of the Super Bowls head to head?
Well, I think we did. We showed that at the end of the 10 years by winning the last 2 Super Bowls. You know, the Chiefs, I was with the Chiefs in Super Bowl 4. I was a backup quarterback to Lenny Dawson after the Jets had won. So we proved that equality in the top teams had gotten pretty good. Had gotten was close to being there. Not as an entire league wasn't there, but it was in the top teams, and it was going to grow. The money factor was always an issue that allowed us to grow. But as far as just football itself, we had there was a lot of pride involved. AFL, and then if you run into a guy from the American Football League, and he said, "You were in the NFL." I said, "No, I was in the AFL." Yeah. And they'll say it with a smile and pride, and that's the way I feel. I was in the American Football League, a pioneer in the history of football that will never be equaled.
Thank you so much. And as a man of multi-race, I'm Black and Hispanic. Thank you so much for opening the door for the Latinos and Hispanics in the National Football League. You will be cherished for forever. Congratulations once again on your induction, sir.
Andale.
Andale.
All right, Aaron and Levi will close us out.
Hey, Coach. In your time with the Raiders, who was a tougher quarterback to prepare for, Dan Fouts or John Elway?
Oh, boy, that's a good question. I'll tell you, Elway was the toughest because he was all over the field. Fouts was, we couldn't let him have the ball because when he was hot, but he was a pocket guy. Elway could leave the pocket, and when he left the pocket, big things happened. He was such a powerful guy. I loved them both, and they were in our division, so we saw them twice a year, whether we liked it or not. But it was fun. It was fun to play against the good guys. I love playing against the good players because they elevate your play, and you don't have to tell your players, "See that guy over there? We can't let him do that." And but Elway was, but I would have liked to have had either one.
Thanks again and congrats.
You bet.
Levi, last question. It's all yours.
Thank you, Coach Flores, once again with Raiders.com. In the previous question, I also forgot to congratulate you on your Hall of Fame career, and much deserved. And going into that question, with it, you know, the whole process of having to wait so long to actually get your induction, was it one of those things where when it did finally happen, were you in awe, or were you fully expecting it? Is this something that you are still like on cloud 9 about, or is it something that you feel has been a long time coming and you've been ready to be a Hall of Famer for a long time?
Well, first of all, I was kind of expecting it sooner, and it didn't happen. So then I got skeptical about it, and I was a little guarded it as far as anticipating that this might be the year. So I wasn't going to count anything. And then when it did finally happen, when Mr. Baker knocked on my door here in my home in Palm Springs, and I saw that big body coming through the doorway, I said, "Oh man, it happened." That's when you realize it's happened. And I tell you, there's no better feeling. I had tears in my eyes. I have tears in my eyes right now just thinking about it, because that's as far as that's a lifetime achievement, and that's forever. And my feeling is that when you make the Hall of Fame, you don't make the Hall of Fame. You and your family make the Hall of Fame, and your friends, and your coaches, and your players. We all go in together. I'm just a representative of a wonderful group and a wonderful game.
Thank you so much, Coach. You deserve it.
All right, see you.
Levi, thanks for that question. It teed it up nicely for Coach Flores to introduce the idea of coming to Canton, and we are waiting for you, Coach. 3 weeks from today will be the Hall of Fame game and your first appearance as a well-deserved member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and you will elevate the museum, and we are looking forward to that. So thank you, everybody, for a great session.
You bet. Thank you.